This recording is by Professor Lisa Barbosa-Angles, and it is regarding how to use the Massasoit Community College Library to write a research paper. So, the research paper we're going to write is going to be on Flannery O'Connor's A Good Man is Hard to Find. I believe you can choose your own story for this paper, but we're going to pretend that we're writing about that story so that we can find resources for it on the website. So here is the Massasoit Library website. The link is massasoit.mass.edu/library. This is what it should look like when you get there. So we're going to talk about both books and online sources, because you can either use books or online sources for your paper. First, let's talk about books. Okay, so on the website, if you look over here under Getting Started, there's this tab called MCAT. Click on it, and this connects you to the Old Colony Library Network. What the Old Colony Library Network is it's a group. Okay, it's a group of all the libraries in southeastern Massachusetts. This connects the Sharon Library with the Scituate Library, with the Plymouth Library, with the Massasoit Library, with the Quincy College Library. What the point is of this is that you can get a book from any of those libraries sent to Massasoit for you. So instead of just looking at Massasoit Library, see, these are all the libraries that are connected: Hingham, Randolph, Sandwich, Scituate. Again, it costs you nothing to send a book to Massasoit. So we're going to click All and search for Flannery O'Connor. And these tabs down here that say word or phrase, author, title, subject, these are helpful depending on how you're separating your search. If you just wanted to look for books by Flannery O'Connor, you could click on author. But we're going to use word or phrase because sometimes people write books about an author and it'll just be part of the abstract. So we're going to click on that, and it's going to give us all the results. Okay, so here's what we have. All of these things. So many things. Now, the next question is, how do we sort through them? There are 15 pages of things regarding A Good Man is Hard to Find by Flannery O'Connor. So, first, if you notice that there are both electronic resources, these are electronic books. So if you wanted to click on this, you could click on it and read it. Now this book, Southern Gothic Literature by J. Ellis. I wonder what that is. Let's click on it. It's at the Massasoit Brockton Library and at the Stoughton Library. So if you wanted to find this book in the library, you would write down this number, PS 374.G68S78, and you look for it in the stacks, and then you pull it out and you look in the book for where it talks about Flannery O'Connor, and then potentially this could work as one of your sources. To find another one, hit go back. Be sure when you're using this search engine to hit go back and not the back button, because it will redo your search. So hit go back, and it'll take you back to the words or phrases Flannery O'Connor that we searched for. So all of these talk about Flannery O'Connor in some way, whether it's about one particular story or about the author in general, like a historical thing of the author. But this is how you would use, so this person, Charles E. May, wrote a whole book about Flannery O'Connor, Critical Insights on Flannery O'Connor. This would probably be a really good source. This is a novel. Excuse me, I'm looking at what looks good here. This is the first time I'm running this search. So there are some really good sources here is what I'm learning. So you can click on these and look them up in the library or get them sent to the Massasoit Library. Generally, the book that you want has her name in the title or has something to do with the topic that your author writes on. So Flannery O'Connor writes in the Southern Gothic style, so a book about the Southern Gothic would work really well for this paper. So that is how you search for books. If you, let's see if, this doesn't have anything to do with Flannery O'Connor, but if we wanted to, see, this is at the Braintree Library and the Weymouth Library. If you wanted to get this sent to the Massasoit Library, here's what you do. You hit place hold, you type in your library card number, and you pick up at Massasoit and hit place hold, and then it'll send it to the library for you, and you'll get an email when the book is ready. It's pretty awesome. I wish more people took advantage of it, but alas. Okay, so we're going to go back to the regular library website so I can show you how to search for articles on a database. So now you know how to look for a book, you know how to request a book from another library if it isn't available at Massasoit for you. So we're back on the main massasoit.mass.edu library website. So what you're going to click on is databases. So the deal with databases is that databases are a collection of articles that people have written. So academics write papers and they submit them to journals. However, keeping a ton of journals in a library is incredibly impractical, so they're frequently available online, and the library will subscribe to that journal in particular, or a particular journal, or a few sets of journals that you can access. So we're going to click on the subject list. So this tells you, depending on what you're writing your paper on, which databases you will find information on. So if you're going to do nursing and you're going to have to write papers in nursing school, you know, on nursing ethics and bedside manner or something, you know. So you would click on nursing and it would tell you, like, these are the ones that you can use. CINAHL is the best of these, but Medline is great. Another one that's on here that works is EBSCOhost, but in any case, we're talking about literature here. So here is a set of the databases that you can use. So ones that I recommend are CLC Select and there's another one that's not, and under academic, so under literature, CLC Select, and another one that's not on here, I'm going to look for it on the alphabetical list. It's called EBSCOhost. EBSCOhost is great for nursing too. EBSCOhost. So, CLC and EBSCOhost are going to be the two that I recommend that you use for finding sources for this paper. So we're going to click on EBSCOhost. So what you do here is you type in your login number that I need to get. So the barcode number is on your student ID. So mine is 8, 4. So I suppose you could use mine, but you couldn't request books with it. But whatever. Get your student ID. It's easy. And you get discounts. And you get cheap movie tickets. Anyway, so here is the EBSCOhost search page. It's pretty simple. All you really need to know is this part right here, where it says enter any words to find books, journals, and more. So we're going to search for the story, A Good Man is Hard to Find. I put it in quotes because otherwise it will look for each word separately. So I want it to look for the phrase, a good man is hard to find. So that is what I did. Hit search. Great. A good man is hard to find in other stories. So this is a book that is available on full text, which means that you can see the whole book on here or listen to it. Listen.
A good man is hard to find. and Other Stories. Flannery O'Connor born, March 20.
Cool, so if you click on this, it will read it to you. It will read you this whole abstract. That's pretty cool. So in this book, this abstract tells you everything that's in the book. It talks about the story Good Country People and A Good Man is Hard to Find. Now how can we access it? Let's see. Okay, so this is not the best reference because it tells you about a book, but it doesn't give you the actual book. So what we're going to do is go back to result list. Womp womp. This is the real life of doing research. Sometimes you'll click on something and be excited about it, but then the whole thing isn't actually there. So we'll keep searching. Through our laughter we are involved. Bergsonian humor in Flannery O'Connor's fiction. Interesting. We can see that some of the subjects in here are good country people and a good man is hard to find. So let's click on this. And it shows you a critical article. First talks about Woody Allen. Interesting. So this person wrote this article about Flannery O'Connor and her use of comedy, right? It says it in the title, literally. This is a good title because it tells you exactly what it's talking about. So if we skim through this, we see that he's talking about comedy. So if you want to talk about comedy, then you should probably cite this article. He even says exactly what the essay is going to be about. This is his thesis. In this essay, I will expand on this interpretation of Bergson's philosophy of humor, which we can assume he described in earlier paragraphs that we didn't read, and demonstrate more thoroughly its relevance to O'Connor's fictions, focusing on two of her stories in particular, Good Country People and A Good Man is Hard to Find. Okay, interesting. So this critical article is citing another critical article. This guy who wrote this article that we're looking at right now said that Miles Orville claims that what is most difficult to define in O'Connor's fiction is her peculiar blend of comic violence and mysterious shock. After reading A Good Man is Hard to Find, we can tell that that is probably a very accurate statement. There's some parts of it that are oddly humorous, despite the fact that it's a pretty terrible tragedy at the end of the story. So it goes on to say that most who write about O'Connor's fiction comment on the peculiar blend of violence and humor. So this person, because he's stating something that is known to be a fact, he cites someone. So this is a good use of a source. So we skim through this article. You could find parts of it to work for your paper. Great, this is an awesome source. So we're going to go back to detailed record, back to result list. We're back to work. From Manners to Mystery, Flannery O'Connor's titles. Can we guess what this is going to be about? Probably about titles. A Good Man is Hard to Find is a very odd title, don't you think? So, this person wrote this all about titles. Flannery O'Connor's Misfit and the Mystery of Evil. Awesome. If you're writing about the misfit, this is probably an awesome thing to look at. These are books. If there are books cited in here, it tells you over here again if this is a book or an academic journal. If there's a book on here, you may be able to find it through the library network, oh great. I don't know, see, this is here. This is how research works. Sometimes it's available to you easily, and sometimes you have to do some sleuthing and search for it. So, play around on these. And see what you can find regarding the story that you want to write about. If you don't have a topic yet, look for the story, and maybe someone else wrote about it, something about the story, which someone probably did, and you can see what they said. And now don't copy exactly what they say because that's plagiarizing, but it could probably inspire you to say something about the story if you can't think of a topic. So do some searching, ask me questions in class. I hope this was helpful. Okay, see ya.